What if we already know the four descenders?
Welcome back to Genshin with Amavi and Fontaine 4.2 Archon Quest spoilers ahead. The first descender. According to Before Sun and Moon, we have an era known as the Old World. And that was when the 7 dragon sovereigns ruled, one of which Neuvillette is a part of and Apep is a part of. The only 2 we've met. And sometime during the time of the Old World, long before the Archon War, the Primordial One comes into Teyvat. The Primordial One is also known as the Eternal Throne of the Heavens, and I'm going to propose is also the Heavenly Principles. How do I say this? Before Sun and Moon gives us a supposed identity for the first descender, Phanes, who hatches from an egg in androgynous form, challenges the 7 dragon sovereigns and creates like 4 shades, of which, if you know Isaroth, the god of time, is probably one of them. It takes about 40 years, but the Primordial One and its 4 shades wins, taking authority from the dragons. The reason I propose that the Primordial One is also the Heavenly Principles is because, one, Nahida says that the Heavenly Principles is likely the first descender, and that kind of lines up with this timeline. But when we also look at what Apep said in Nahida's second story quest, he tells us he hates the usurper from beyond the heavens and says that they all believe that forbidden knowledge was the only way to defeat, and he calls it by name, the Heavenly Principles. The Dragon King goes beyond the stars and gets a different power, but is ultimately defeated. And right before our conversation ends, Apep says that he wonders how the life so dear and precious to the Heavenly Principles will fare, making it seem like the Heavenly Principles created humanity. And Before Sun and Moon tells us that humanity was created by the Primordial One, so they seem to be the same being. That is our first descender. The second era of Teyvat is the New World. And this kind of distinction is marked clearly by the second who came entering the fray. The second who came goes to war with the Primordial One, and according to Before Sun and Moon, it looks like they lose. And during the disaster, in which it says that heaven and earth are destroyed, Enconomia falls underneath. And it's also heavily hinted at that the second who came is the traveler from beyond the stars who fell in love with the Seelie, and that Seelie and the second who came forgot each other, as was the judgment of the Heavenly Principles, and were destined to live apart. So the second who came, it seems like they might still be alive, but they may have memory problems and not remember who they were or where they came from. We have finally gotten information about the third descender. Nahida told us none of the descenders are our sibling, and so who could it be? Well, whoever the third descender was, we know 2 things from Skirt. One, they are dead, or their body is gone, because their body became the 7 Gnosises. And so that poses its own question, like, how did the Primordial One control the power of the Dragon Sovereigns if it wasn't through the Gnosis? The Gnosis are the ways that the Archons, after the Archon War 2,000 years ago, kind of communicate with Celestia. But up until that point, what was going on? How were they getting power? And is this when the Gnosises were made? Did the third descender die around the time of the Archon War and that's what spurns it? That's just all conjecture. We don't really know, but all we do know, first descender is likely the Primordial One or the Heavenly Principles. I think they're the same person. Second descender is likely the one who fell in love with the Seelie and who lost, probably is hanging about but doesn't remember anything. Third descender is deceased, and their body became the Gnosises, and the Traveler is the fourth descender. Like and follow for more Genshin War. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, join the Discord.